Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just shoot out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right to the video. The Boston Celtics crushed the New York Knicks for the third time this season, and the killer wheel offense is something that's very prevalent in these matchups, but the way the Celtics guard the Knicks seems to work every time, so let's get into the film. Alright, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come in the house. And again, like I said, the Celtics beat the Knicks again, 118-105 this time. The Knicks made their run in the third quarter. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns got hot. They scored 39 points in the third quarter, but the Celtics handled the Knicks like they always have this season. And I just want to read out a couple things, right? So the Knicks offense as a whole this season, right? They are fifth in scoring at 117.9 per game, so I'll round up to 118. They are third in field goal percentage at 49.3%. From 2-point range, they make 31 twos per game, which is second in the NBA. They go 31 for 55 per game, which is 56.8%. They're fourth in the NBA in paint points at 53.8 a game. They shoot 49% in the paint, which is fifth in the NBA. And they're 10th in the NBA in assists with 27.5 per game. Specifically for this game right here, the Knicks only scored 105 points. In all three games, the Knicks only average 106 points. So the Celtics in the three games against the Knicks are holding them about 12 points under their usual scoring output. In this game, the Knicks also shot 43.5% from the field, which is about 6% less. In all three games, the Knicks shoot about 46.6%, which is about 3% less. In this game, the Knicks shot 26 of 56 from 2-point range, which is 46%. As I detailed earlier, they usually shoot 57% from 2-point range. And as I said earlier, they are fifth in paint percentage at 49% for the season. They shot 8 for 24 in the paint in this game, which is 33%. And this is why, right? So the scheme part, I said this in the Karl Anthony Towns video I did when he got traded. I was trying to detail how the Celtics might be able to guard Karl Anthony Towns on the Knicks and if he would be a problem, right? I said this, and a lot of Knicks fans said, oh, y'all won't be able to do this, but this is what I said, coming over to help. Now, of course, the thing that will be different with the Knicks is, of course, the spacing, right? The Celtics will do this part regardless. So again, Kristaps is here checking Jaden McDaniels. He's going to come over to help. This on the Knicks will most likely be Josh Hart. He's the worst shooter out of the perimeter players, which is Brunson, McHale, and OG and him. So, and this is exactly what the Celtics do. So you got Kristaps Porzingis, right? Like I said, he's going to be on Josh Hart because it's not that he's a bad shooter. It's just that he's the worst of the shooters that's playing, right? And Josh Hart has had some playoff series where he's hit a lot of clutch shots, hit a lot of clutch threes. If you're a defense, you're gonna live with this, right? And being that the Knicks are so dominant from two this season, with Karl Anthony Towns having a great season, Jalen Brunson gets a lot done in this mid-range floater area, right? They are dominant from two, and this is what majority of their offense comes from, right? When you have a team like that, right? Look at what we're doing to Josh Hart. Hold on. I gotta get my flashlight. We are paying absolutely no attention to Josh Hart. We are paying absolutely no attention to Josh Hart. And what that allows us to do now is when Karl Anthony Towns, the initial matchup on Karl Anthony Towns is either Tatum or Jrue Holiday, right? When Karl Anthony Towns drives, right, and tries to impose his will against a smaller guy, we have the length of Kristaps Porzingis coming over to help, and Karl Anthony Towns has suffered in these matchups this season. And something that I also noticed, like just watching this New York Knicks team, is that just because you have 5 potential spacers does not mean you have an effective 5 out, because your coach has to instill that and your players have to uphold that spacing at all times, right? So the Celtics have pushed spacing the day they got Kristaps Porzingis, the day they got Jrue Holiday. They committed to a 5 out offense. They committed to we're going to shoot the most threes and we're going to aim to make the most threes, right? These players can shoot the ball from 3. I know Josh Hart is a little shaky, but he can shoot from 3, right? That's not Josh Hart's nature, though. He's not just going to sit out here and take threes all day. So it hurts their spacing when guys drive, and the Celtics are allowed to do this Kristaps Porzingis thing because Josh Hart is a cutter, right? He's a guy that wants to get into the paint. He wants to cut. He wants to do the right thing in the paint most of the times. If Kristaps Porzingis is on Josh Hart, he's not going to just sit in the corner and make this help a lot harder for Kristaps Porzingis. He's going to be cutting and be right beside the basketball a lot of times, so it just makes it so much easier for Kristaps to help. Now, on this play, I'm not sure why Mikal Bridges is trying to post up Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday's not going to allow that. But Jalen Brunson cuts, right? A nice pass by Mikal. But look where Josh Hart's at. Kristaps deters that drive. Kristaps, he gets the ball with Kristaps. He has to go to the other side, and Kristaps still is able to block it. And And when the Celtics go to the bench, it's the same exact thing. We put our center on Josh Hart, and great game plan discipline by Jason Tatum. We are not chasing OG Anunoby over screens. We're not that scared of him coming off a screen and hitting the three. So we're going under that. And this is what I'm talking about, right? So OG Anunoby gets into the paint on Tatum, right? Josh Hart is sitting right here. He comes next to OG Anunoby and calls for the ball. Look where Jalen Brunson is. Look at the spacing. Just because you have 5 shooters does not mean your team is going to play 5 out. Look at the spacing right here. You will be here all day trying to find a Celtics possession that looks like this. Joe will literally call a timeout, rip the last of his hair out, and lay into these guys if this ever happens. Luke Cornett is able to help, is able to stay right there, right? He isn't making this help harder because if he's sitting right here, he either hits a shot or he makes it. OG again tries to post up Jason Tatum. They eventually get to Josh Hart, and this is the shots that we want Josh Hart to take, right? This isn't a Josh Hart hate session. It's just that he is the catalyst to how we're going to guard this team. He had 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. That's a good day statistically, but he was the second lowest on their team with a -12. This is how he plays. This is how Tom Thibodeau plays. Like, the spacing aspect. So it is what it is. This is just how they're going to play. They're a dominant team from inside the paint, but the Celtics are able to guard this good with this game. And Josh Hart is a good cutter overall. So a lot of cuts that he's going to make are the correct cuts. It's just that it makes it easier for the Celtics to guard, or the Celtics center that's guard him to help. But sometimes that shit don't even matter because he's at half court, right? Premium spacing. Luke Cornett is right here. As soon as he sees Jalen Brunson drives, his job is to go stop that. Josh Hart does the correct thing. He dives right to the basket. What I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter. On certain plays, it doesn't matter what Josh Hart does. This is the correct cut, or he could have stayed right here, but this is the correct cut. But even before he got into the offensive play, we dismissed him. Pritchard can't let Jalen Brunson get past him this easily, but this is why we stopped them from 2-point range. This is why they shot, 7% less from 2-point range. This is why they shot 33% in the paint, because we have length at the center position guarding Josh Hart, and we're able to crowd them. Again, they got 3 people in the paint right now, and it's just not something that. And then look, we come off of Josh Hart right there. They still have 3 people in the paint. Like, this is 1987. And Josh Hart gets the ball and shoots a fadeaway mid-range. We are living with that shit. We are living with that shit. If he scores 40 points on this, bro, nobody will bat an eye. Now, you might say, hey, Josh Hart doesn't play 48 minutes. One, I would challenge that he fuck around and might play 48 minutes. But in the event that Josh Hart isn't on the court, rare occasion, we got Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa is not a shooter. He's an athletic big with some mobility, athletic guy, but he is not a shooter. So when Josh Hart's not on the court, most likely Precious Achiuwa is going to be on the court because he's replacing that role. That's what we do, right? We just let Precious Achiuwa shoot however many threes he wants to. So we're able to switch this. You're going to see a lot of Nash dribbles in this video. A Nash dribble is when you dribble along the baseline, just like Landry Shamet just did. It's when you dribble and you go past the rim because probably you can't get this shot off because of the help that the Celtics are providing. You're going to see a lot of Nash dribbles in this video. And look at what we're doing to Precious Achiuwa. We're not really focused on Precious Achiuwa. And somehow, I didn't even notice this the first time, Carvin Towns has paint Pritchard on him, right? And because the Knicks have somebody on the court that we don't really respect, we're able to just switch this, right? Because if this was a shooter, we're probably not going to leave him open like that because he's wide open and he's probably going to hit this 3. But since we don't respect him, we can easily switch that with Jrue Holiday. Then they just go on with their offense, Landry Shamet, who gave them some punch in the second quarter, but just wasn't enough. But also something very important in this game. I've talked about the help defense a whole lot. I've talked about the center coming over to help and how that is so helpful. While that is helpful, you still need somebody that can at least hold their own against Carvin Towns for a couple seconds. We're not looking to flat out double Carvin Towns, right? We're looking to help when he drives. If Jrue Holiday hypothetically couldn't hold his own on Carvin Towns at all, and we had to send a double team every single time Carl touches the ball, that would be different, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but Jrue Holiday being able to stand up Carvin Towns for an entire possession and strip the ball is very valuable. And this is right here is another example of like the spacing and stuff like that. So now Josh Hart and Precious Achiuwa are on the court at the same time. I actually need to look at this lineup. Hold on. Okay, so the 2-man lineup of Josh Hart and Precious Achiuwa this game was a -8. They had a -84 net rating, a 61.5 offensive rating. They shot 33% as a team, only scored 12 points in 6.5 minutes. So yeah, probably wouldn't do that against the Celtics. But so they get the Chicago action here, right, for Mikal Bridges. Look at how many people are in the paint. Or just look at this. It's just impossible to play offense because you're not giving your team any options. They're lined up in a single file line like this is preschool or some shit. So he runs the pick and roll, right? We're already not worried about Precious Achiuwa. We're already not worried about Josh Hart. We have Mikal driving, right? They get the ball out to Jalen Brunson. We have another pick and roll happening, and then Jalen Brunson just stays there. Then he goes at Jaylen Brown. And again, we respect Mikal a little bit more, so we're not going to sell out on him. We're going to stunt right to Jalen Brunson, but then Achiuwa is still in the paint with Karl-Anthony Towns. So now Horford is able to just be in between two people while Kristaps Porzingis goes up to Jalen Brunson and he contests a shot. Yeah, the Knicks spacing could be better just so they can get wide open threes, and then it's up to Josh Hart just to hit some of them. But like, it really doesn't matter where they start. Like, if Josh Hart starts if he starts here, I think Kristaps Porzingis still just walks to the paint. Right now, the point of that is it's a longer help, right? He has to run to help then instead of just being right there with Mikal Cut. So if he's there, especially at the beginning of possession, he might just stand right here for a second and see what's going on. That may be enough time for Mikal Bridges to get off this layup. But because Josh Hart is sitting right here, Kristaps Porzingis just has to take one step over and he's there. Again, you see they switch it. They are not able to get that 2-point shot off because of Kristaps Porzingis right there. Tatum ends up jumping to the pass, putting 2 on Karl-Anthony Towns, so almost forcing a turnover. But then we actually force a turnover there with the deflection by Kristaps Porzingis, and we get it done. All right, so in the third quarter is where the Knicks went on their run. They scored 39 points, and it's just like that's what great NBA players do, right? Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson are great NBA players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It is unrealistic to expect the Celtics to just beat the Knicks constantly for 3 whole games, up 25 points the entire game. That's just not something that's realistic. This team will make a run, and they did make a run. But the culprit of that run was getting out in transition and playing fast, not allowing the Celtics to set up this scheme where they're so easy to guard, right? They started to grab the rebounds, and they started to go, which is what happens with this play. On this play, I want to show some love to Luke Kornet, right? Him and Jalen Brunson are starting at the same position. He haul asses, right? He sees Sam Hauser and he goes, right? But Luke Kornet deters this drive. You got another Nash dribble. I believe Jalen Brunson carried on this possession. That's why the bench is so up in arms here. But Luke Kornet sprinting took away a Jalen Brunson layup right here, right? Then they get to Josh Hart, and it's the problem right here. We got two almost 7-footers. We got Luke Kornet at 7'2". We got Al Horford at 6'10", 6'11". Josh Hart still went up on both of them, and we forced a miss. And this specific way that the Celtics have been playing defense has really impacted Karl-Anthony Towns in these 3 games. Overall in the season, Cat is having a phenomenal offensive season, averaging 25 points on 50% shooting on 17 field goal attempts. He also gets to the line 5 points. He gets 5.7 free throw attempts per game, so he gets like just under 6 attempts per game. But in the 3 games against the Celtics, he's averaging 15 points on 46% shooting on 12.3 field goal attempts. So he's taking about 5 less shots and he's shooting 7% worse. And he also gets 2 free throw attempts per game in these 3 games. So we're completely taking Karl-Anthony Towns out of his game. Right here, Deuce McBride falls down, but then Derek White has to guard Karl-Anthony Towns for a brief period. He actually drives, get past Derek, but again, having Kristaps Porzingis on Josh Hart means that he can help at any time. He meets Karl-Anthony Towns at the rim. Well, I think Karl-Anthony Towns just missed it, but still a good contest by Kristaps Porzingis. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share it in everyone that you can. Just get out there a little bit more, and I will see you guys in the next video. This is Nick. Peace.